to quickly go over the inventory system that we discussed in class on Thursday. And I'm also going to quickly go over the particle system effects that I also went over, as well as where the water assets are located in the standard assets folder. So let's just go over the easier stuff, which would be the water and the particle effects. So when you created this 3D module folder, you should have brought in the standard assets folder. And if you open it up and scroll down to environment, you will see that there is a folder called water. And there are several types of water. As you can see here, you have prefabs that you can bring in to the scene, like so, which is the one that I actually have in the scene, in my own scene. But there's also other more basic water prefabs as well. So if we check water basic, let's see, there should be a nighttime. The first one's daytime and the second one's nighttime. I think they just slightly vary in color. So if you look at the material in the inspector, you can see that one's darker than the other. But it's the same thing. It's like the other prefab that we just looked at, except the texture is not as clear or as detailed as the other one that I have back here. But it works nonetheless. So it really depends on your preference. Oops. Alright, so that's pretty much where you can find water, and I don't believe, like, all the water prefabs are in circles. So if you want to make a shape of a pond, like if you want curves around it, to be honest, I'm not sure how to do that. I would assume that you would just reshape it like so, and then make a duplicate next to it and change the shape a bit. I would assume that's how you could make curves and things like that when you're making a pond or a lake or wherever. Okay, so let's go ahead and delete these. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Where's this one? Alright, so that's how you bring water. So the next thing that I wanted to show you was the particle effect. I have two in my scene already. One is kind of like what looks like snow, and this other one is fire, I believe. Or perhaps not. I guess not. I guess I deleted it. But anywho, so the way that you make a particle system is by going to Game Object Particle System. You bring it in. Let me just put it right next to it. And initially, it's just going to be these small spheres that look like orbs. But if you look at the inspector, there are a lot of variables that you can change, and this really depends on what it is you want your particle system to have. If you want it to be smoke, if you want it to be fire, if you want it to be rain, whatever it is, you need to tweak all these numbers to best fit your needs. But that's really all I can really tell you, because I don't know exactly what you would want to make. But what I can tell you is that you can attach textures to these shapes that are in the particle system. So again, in in the standard assets folder, it should have come with its own folder called particle systems, and inside there you could see the materials that you can attach to the particle system. So for example, if I were to pick this smoke particle, this cloud particle right here, in order to attach it, all you need to do is drag it into the item inside the hierarchy, the particle system in the hierarchy. and then that will make each little shape into that specific material. Now, if you do not want this system like so, like in little orbs, what you would do is on the side you could change the shape of the emission as well as the emission overall. So let's see what happens here. What else can we do? You'll always want it to be looping, that way it continues. But I don't know, there are so many things that you can do in here. I'm gonna try to see if I can make it into like a stream. Let me see this one. Size over time. Alright. Let's see what this does. That still does it in like little orbs. Let's see. Oh, shit. Did I do this correctly already? Whoa. Also, that just changes the shape of the emission, which is not what we want. I just want a stream. Let's see. Oh, that's. Anyway, I don't really know exactly how to do it right now. But you get the idea. By changing around numbers in here and experimenting with it, you can figure it out, I'm sure. But anyway, that's how you operate a particle system. I'm just gonna delete it because I don't need it. Alright. So now we can actually go into the inventory system stuff. It's really not complicated. The script in itself is pretty easy. It's just a matter of tagging everything properly. I think that was the issue with most people, where the script wasn't working. It was because the objects that you need to pick up have to have the same tag as the icons that you make for the UI. So I'm just going to go over that in the following video.